Okay, so have you heard about this piece making the rounds? It's called New Life on Earth.
Oh, yeah. I think I saw something about that.
It's by Shawn Wondunna Foley.
Okay.
And it was just published like a couple of days ago, actually.
Oh, wow. So it's pretty recent.
Yeah, December 29th is when it dropped.
Wow.
And it's, I don't know, it's not really like a straight news story. More like a personal, kind of like a manifesto almost, you know?
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty intense.
What's it about?
Well, he's basically calling for a total rethink of how we live.
Oh, wow.
Like everything you know.
Okay.
Getting rid of what he calls egoic materialism.
Egoic materialism.
Yeah. It's, we'll get into that.
Okay.
But basically he's saying we need to break free from all these systems of control.
Systems of control, like what kind?
Oh, you know, like the powers that be.
Okay.
He even mentions, throws some shade at nefarious billionaires.
Oh, wow. He's really going for it.
Yeah, no kidding.
So this is pretty radical stuff.
It's pretty out there, but I think there's some interesting stuff in here worth digging into.
Yeah, for sure. I'm curious to hear more.
Yeah, and luckily we have you here, our expert, to like help us unpack it all and you know, see what it might actually mean for, you know, like everyday people.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like he's touching on some pretty big ideas.
He is.
Like this whole thing about egoic materialism. I'm curious to hear more about that.
Yeah, well, one of the things he talks about is how like our desire for all this material wealth is kind of connected to this sense of like being lost, you know?
A loss.
Yeah, like lost and disconnected from a deeper purpose or something.
That's interesting.
It's like he's suggesting that chasing all this stuff is actually what's holding us back.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like it's keeping us from reaching our full potential.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh.
Both personally and like spiritually, he says.
I can see
It's
that.
like we're always striving for more, but never really satisfied.
Right. It's like that constant need for the next thing.
Yeah. And he argues that all these systems, that he calls them systems of capture, compliance, and control.
Catchy name.
Right. They thrive on that constant desire.
Oh, I see what he's saying.
It's like, think about advertising, you know?
Right.
Social pressure.
Uh-huh.
Even the way our economy is structured.
Yeah. It's all kind of geared towards...
It all kind of pushes us to want more and buy more.
And that keeps us distracted.
Exactly. And in his words, enslaved.
Wow. He's not holding back.
He's not.
So, okay, we get it. Things are bad.
Right.
But what about this new Earth he keeps talking about?
Okay, yeah, let's get to the good stuff.
What's that actually look like?
Well, it's a world without war and violence for starters.
Okay, I like that.
Right, where like respect and unity are the foundation.
Sounds pretty utopian.
It does, but he also emphasizes individual freedom.
Okay, but not in like the typical like do whatever you want kind of way.
No, it's more about being free from like the mental and emotional traps of materialism and fear.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it's less about accumulating stuff and more about...
More about connecting with each other.
Yes.
Like on a deeper level.
Right. He talks about embracing our shared humanity and recognizing that we're all interconnected.
That's a powerful idea.
It is. And he even suggests that we can like actively create this new Earth through our choices.
So it's not just some far-off dream.
No, it's something we can work towards.
I see.
But, you know, I was thinking about this whole idea of egoic materialism.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty heady, you know?
It does.
Like, what's the takeaway for someone who's not like a philosophy scholar?
That's a good question. I think it boils down to this. Egoic materialism is the belief that your worth is tied to what you own. Your status, how others perceive you.
So, like, the things you have define who you are.
Right, and that can lead to a never-ending cycle of wanting more.
And never feeling content.
Exactly. You always feel like you need the next thing to be happy.
Right.
And ultimately, it keeps you disconnected from what truly matters.
From, like, genuine connection and purpose and stuff.
Yeah. Wondunna Foley believes that letting go of this mindset is key.
To, like, actually being happy.
Yeah, to experiencing more genuine happiness and fulfillment.
So it's not about, like, living in a shack and giving away all your possessions.
No, not necessarily.
More about just shifting your priorities.
Exactly. It's about being mindful of why you're doing things.
Like, why are you buying that new gadget?
Right. Is it actually adding value to your life, or are you trying to fill some void?
I see.
It's about being able to tell the difference between what you need and what you just want.
And focusing on experiences and relationships that actually bring you joy.
Right. The things that truly connect you to yourself and to others.
That makes sense. But, you know, Wondunna Foley also calls out, like, these nefarious billionaires who he says are, like, pulling the strings.
He does use some pretty strong language.
It feels a little extreme, don't you think?
He definitely has a strong point of view.
Yeah.
But I think what he's trying to do is highlight how easily we can be manipulated.
By, like, the media.
By the media, by advertising, by all these systems that are designed to profit off of our desires.
So it's a reminder to, like, be critical of all the messages we're bombarded with.
Exactly. Don't just passively consume everything you see and hear.
Think for yourself.
Right. Question the motives behind the things you're being sold.
Okay, that's good advice.
Yeah.
But let's say we, like, buy into this whole vision of a new Earth.
Okay.
How do we actually make it happen? It feels kind of overwhelming.
That's a big question.
It is.
But Wondunna Foley emphasizes that it all starts with individual action.
Okay.
He says we need to be clear, positive, and intentional.
In, like, our thoughts and actions.
In everything, our thoughts, our words, our deeds.
So it's about making choices that align with the values of this new Earth.
Exactly. So things like kindness, compassion, unity, respect.
So less doom scrolling and more
Less doom scrolling. More
planting trees.
planting trees, yes.
Volunteering.
Volunteering, absolutely.
Just being a good neighbor.
All of those things.
I can see how it all ties together.
It's about recognizing that even small acts can have a big impact.
Right, like a ripple effect.
Exactly. You can inspire others and create a more positive energy just by being a good person.
So for our listener who's, like, taking all this in, what's the, like, bottom line?
The bottom line is that we have a choice
Between what?
between being passive consumers,
Okay.
stuck in a system that thrives on dissatisfaction, or becoming conscious creators of a world that prioritizes well-being and meaning.
So it's like, ditch the obsession with stuff, embrace unity and respect.
And recognize that we all have a role to play in shaping the future.
That's pretty powerful stuff.
It is. And, these ideas aren't entirely new.
Oh, really?
No, they echo themes found in various spiritual and philosophical traditions.
So it's like a modern take on some ancient wisdom.
Exactly what Wondunna Foley offers is a fresh perspective.
For our current times.
Right, for the challenges we're facing today.
So here's a final thought for you to chew on, listener.
Okay.
If this new Earth were to actually become a reality, what part would you play in making it happen?
That's a good question.
It's a big one.
It is.
What would your ideal world look like?
Something to think about, for sure.
It is. It's a lot to ponder, but I think it's worth it.
I agree.
Thanks for listening,
Thanks for having me.
and we'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.
See you then.